Welcome to the very first episode of Between Courses. I'm Susie McFarland, agency mentor and organiser of The Long Lunch. We're launching this podcast to sit down with our esteemed Long Lunch sponsors, the people who see more agency reality than is probably good for their health, and understand what's really going on in the industry right now. It's like the conversation before the conversation, if you like. I've got three of those marvellous people with me today. First up, we have Neale, the founder and managing director at the Agency Works and the OG Long Lunch sponsor and supporter. Since 2004, they've helped over 500 agencies grow with Synergist. Suffice to say, they know what actually makes agencies run smoothly, even if we don't want to hear it. Next, we have Amy Wilkinson, head of marketing at the Wow Company. They work with ambitious UK agencies turning over £1 million plus, helping to unlock profit and make smarter decisions, both of which sound terribly sensible. The Wow Company also runs BenchPress, which is the annual survey exploring agency benchmarks and performance, so Amy is well versed in what makes the best agencies thrive. And finally, we have Rebecca Steer, who's a commercial lawyer from Steer. They provide creative agencies easy access to best practice contracts, policies and legal guidance, which is really rather useful given how spectacularly things can go wrong. They're going to share what they're seeing from their unique and expert vantage point, not all the answers, but the inside track on what they are seeing happening across the sector. The kind of stuff that makes you think, oh, so it's not just us then. If you've never been to the Long Lunch, it's our twice-yearly get-together, exclusive to agency owners and directors. No keynotes, no speeches, just good people, good food, no fuss. Check us out at longlunch.co.uk. You can find this podcast on our website and Spotify after the event. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Oh, I feel like Lauren Laverne. Right, let's get cracking. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see you here on this not-so-bonny morning. All of us beautifully colour-coordinated and on brand. We couldn't have organised that better. So let's start with the good news, shall we? So, Amy, from a financial perspective, what are you seeing agencies doing well right now?
So I think what's really interesting to see in agency land at the moment is that we're still here. You know, agencies are still here, they're surviving, they're building resilience. And I think the only way that we've seen agencies do that is to go through this really tough couple of years. We've got the BenchPress data from a couple of years ago, I think, that showed it was almost as bad a year as COVID, right? So profitability was down, confidence was down, growth was down, and agencies are just having a terrible time of it. And I think through this resilience over the past couple of years, the ones that are still here have that resilience naturally built into their business models in a way. So while we're always saying get towards that place of commercial sustainability, actually going through a tough couple of years just gives them that natural resilience. And that's really what we're seeing now. So it's that kind of survivor mentality almost in the market where the crappy couple of years people have had is giving them that kind of solid foundation of growth now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jay, what are you seeing?
I've been doing this a long time, as you know, Suze.
I do.
I think a business is like a relationship. Like, you never have a day where there's birds flying around your head and everything's amazing. And the amount of graphs I've seen it go like up, down, then up again, then down a bit. So I think at any point in business, you're either doing well, you're just doing okay, or you might be having a tough time. And to your point, I think the last couple of years have been a little bit tougher. There's loads of positivity out there. And the businesses, the agencies that are really forward-facing, not rear-view mirror. I talk about this a lot, about leading and lagging indicators. The agencies that are really looking forward of what's happening, they're the ones that will be set up for the future. They'll have the right operational processes in place. They'll know the things that are coming up around the corner, the hurdles in the road. And I'm seeing more and more of that as the years go on. And I think it is down to things like the Wow Company and the BenchPress and sharing that data. Things like there's more operational forums and finance forums than ever before. So the agency world is shifting and becoming more commercial. Definitely it was 10 years ago when I started. So I think there's loads of positivity is how I'm looking at it.
And from a legal perspective, Rebecca, what are you seeing that people are maybe doing things differently and getting things right from that perspective?
Yeah,
I think those agencies that we're working with that have really grown and are kind of doing well at the moment, there's probably two characteristics. One, sort of picking up what Amy said about relationships. It's those that have really strategically focused on their clients in particular sectors and really leaned into those relationships, broadened out the service lines that they're working for with those clients. So relationships are massive strength, but also those that have really professionalised what they're doing as well. So they've reviewed their contracts. They're really focused on what their statements of work says. They really manage that scope slip now, because that's really crucial to the margins and, making sure that they're sort of asking for money on account and all those good things. So those sort of professionalisms have really sort of distinguishing those agencies that are doing well at the moment versus those that might be struggling a bit more.
And maybe it's a question for each of you. Do you think there are particular type of agencies that are being better, being more commercial, being better from the legalities, or do you think that's across the board?
I think that's a mindset thing. I think that's taking control and wanting to deliver well. And often clients are respecting that as well, because they don't want projects to go off piste either. So not distinguishing in size for sure.
I think that's often driven by the leaders and the founders' beliefs of why they set the business up. If you set an agency up to be really commercially well driven, exit in 5 years, be doing $1 million EBIT, get 20% of that, his EBIT $1 million, you're doing 5 million, you're looking for your multiplier. That's a very different mindset and model to say, me and Amy, you've decided we're going to create this amazing agency, work 4 days a week, everyone goes surfing on a Friday and we're going to win loads of awards. That's a little bit of a different mindset. So I think,
and it's hard to survive at the moment with that mindset.
Correct, it is. And I think we've come out of that mindset where lots of agencies are created for that. And I'm not saying that's wrong. Follow your passion, absolutely. But when times are tough, it's those agencies that are just a little bit more focused on the commercial. And I hate to say it, make those really tough decisions.
I agree.
And literally, for me, I think forecast where we're going, cut once, cut deep, rebuild and go again. It would be my advice.
Susie, you asked about a specific subsector in terms of agencies. I think for us, we continually see this pattern year on year. People are probably sick of us talking about it by now, but the agencies that are niched or specialist continue to do exceptionally well every year in BenchPress in terms of growth, profitability, confidence, commercial performance. They just are far and above the better performing agencies.
You find it's really hard having those conversations with agencies about the niching, because they have a mindset of, if I go down to here, I'm like leaving all that green field over there.
Exactly.
And changing somebody's mindset to actually just be really good at that.
And say no. Have the courage to say no.
Especially when times are tough and going, it doesn't really fit us, but that would solve a problem for this month or this quarter.
But it is a mindset thing, and it's also a brand thing, right? So it's seeing the opportunity in a market that is a niche and being able to pivot your brand and your positioning, I think, is key. I mean, I do not doubt that every niched agency has one or two clients that are just, maybe more than that aren't quite in that niche, that are either legacy or they've kept or they really love the relationship. And, but that kind of pivot and that opportunity and that mindset towards niching. And it doesn't have to be a sector, right? It could be a service, it could be a methodology. I think spotting the opportunity with you and your agency is a really interesting place to be.
And those ones you definitely do see. Their EBITs tend to be higher. Salary costs tend to be lower. And I think it's because they're just, like I say, they're specialising. This is what we do. We do it really well.
Yeah.
It comes like a machine.
And for me also, risk is typically lower with that type of agency because they know what they're delivering, they know where the risks are and they minimise them. So we don't tend to get so many legal claims for breach of contract, for late delivery, all those kinds of things where, the agency is on their A game and they really know their market.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. We had somebody on the Beautiful Business podcast last year who was firmly anti-niching. Thought, we don't need to niche our policy. I mean, I'll give them a shout out. It was Gulliver from Sunday Treat. Sunday Treat. Lovely guys. And their brand is all about find the fun. And, had a really good debate about, well, in a way, like that brand is your niche. Sure, you're finding the fun in every project you take on. So, this idea of niching, you can be a little bit more open-minded about it too, I think.
And I think it always has to come down to as well, what's in it for you? Why did you set this up? I often say to my client, just because the industry say 100 grand, per person in revenue, 20% EBIT. If that's not why you've set this up, that doesn't have to be how it is. Run it how you want to be.
It's your prerogative.
It's your baby. Like, run it for you, beholden to the city or shareholders. Run it for you and have fun. And if niche is how you do it to your thing, great. If not, that's okay as well. And I think we have to remember that sometimes as well. This industry is a lot about the fun and the creativity that we bring.
Okay, so we've covered what's working. So let's talk a little bit around what problem solving that you guys have had to look at. So what, Rebecca, are you seeing from a legal issues perspective? What are you seeing more frequently at the moment?
There's a lot of legal stuff coming down the road, which I think is unfortunate, given that the market is so tough at the moment. So we've got the Employment Rights Act that's going to be enforced soon, and that's going to, force a lot of agencies, all agencies really, to need to review their contracts, look at 0 hours, how they treat employees on 0 hours contracts. It's also going to mean they're going to have to look at their handbooks, etc., because a lot of rights are going to kick in from day one. So there's a whole bundle of stuff around that. Also around cyber as well. We've seen a lot more sort of cybersecurity type issues, and also a lot more sort of bad actor type claims as well. So we've had 2 this week around data breach and another sort of bad actor IP kind of threat. Bad actor. So these are just malicious actors that all arise. They're really trying to extort money in some way, shape, or form, either from agencies that have worked on projects or from the end project, so from the brand or the client perspective, and the agencies get dragged into those sort of claims as well. So there's either sort of a data hack, a data breach of some kind, or there's an IP infringement allegation or something like that. So, agencies get embroiled in that as well. So, so those are some of the challenges. And I think, that's about trying to, get some decent advice and, sort of keep your head up and be realistic about needing to implement that. And then also just back to that professionalism point, sort of making sure that you are scoping projects effectively and being very clear when work is outside of scope.
And Jay, what operational headaches are you seeing?
I think there's probably 3 things at the moment. I think cash is a big thing at the moment. I think our clients have started paying a little bit longer. I think cash is having an impact now. I think a pipeline and people's always up there, but I think at the moment pipeline is really challenging for a lot of agencies. I don't think agencies often manage the pipeline well enough. They often don't ask the difficult questions themselves, or ask the clients the difficult questions like, why won't this happen? The amount of forecasts I see that there's some revenue in for December, and next thing that's being pushed out to Jan and Feb, then it just doesn't go anywhere. So I think there's a whole thing around pipeline management that's a problem. And then I think that falls into the next bit, which is around that capacity of people and running the agency and having the right team that can deliver the work to the quality the client demands while still being profitable, than having too much resource and too much capacity and the pipeline not being right. And I think that's a massive issue at the moment. And that really then all ties into the overall cash position of the business. So I think for me, they're the 3 big challenges at the moment, which I think will continue into 2026 as well.
Are you seeing more agencies using more freelance resource?
Yes and no. It often depends on the actual agency and the type of work they have coming in. I think there is more freelance being used, but the cost of it is increasing.
Right.
And salary costs, when I started during the war, you'd try to keep your salary costs to about 55% total salary costs. That's impossible now. That's really, really hard. Most agencies I see 60 to 65, average running around 62, 63%. You throw freelance costs on top of that. Some of the freelance costs people want is quite frightening. And if you go into those senior role strategists, they're some professional footballer money for some of these people. So I think that they're the 3 things really challenging, and the freelance can help, but it can also be a real cost to the business. And that's where the capacity conundrum comes in, really.
And to build on what you were saying as well, Jay, I think there's this, it's almost like a bit of a perfect storm of challenges. There's the new business challenge, which is eternal, right? There's always some new business challenge in some way, shape or form. And I think coupled with a tough couple of years, that inevitably affects the end client as well. So your end client is probably having a tough time. So if you're trying to win business off them, delayed decisions, things are taking longer, their budgets are being squeezed. You're trying to put up your fees. So pricing comes into it as well. And clients are less willing to accept price increases because they've got this sort of increased sensitivity. We're telling agencies, let's look at value-based pricing, or rather value-based selling, as we're sort of reframing it. And, agencies are saying to us, that's great. We know we need to put up our fees to existing clients. We know we need to sell based on value, but actually implementing that conversation is really hard when clients are saying, well, how much time is this costing me? And we've got increased pushback coming. So I think that point of friction now is a really, really tricky and challenging place.
It's your point there, that value-based selling. I mean, that's been knocking around for at least 15 years. I remember seeing with Bristol Creative Industries, Blair Ennis doing a talk on it. And it's great in principle. What agencies aren't really good at is training their teams how to actually deliver this. And the amount of times I've seen MDs will come in, or owners say, right, we're moving to value-based selling. I'm like, right, have you coached your team on doing this? Well, no, we'll just do it. No, you won't. This is like a whole different set of skills needed to have a conversation with a client. So I think that, value-based selling is great if you do it correctly.
Have you seen some agencies doing it well, and what have they done to actually implement it? And
the best agency I've ever seen, bar none. They work to real agile methodology. If you take the timesheets and say, right, this is what you should have billed your clients over a year, typically you're running it between 82 to 95% of that. So if it was £1 million, you're getting 820 to 950 grand of that million. This one client was like 98%. And the reason was they did agile properly. They had day-to-day stand-ups with the client, said, this is what we're going to do, got it signed off and did the work. So they pretty much every hour they delivered was charged and got by the client. But they built their agency around that. That was how they lived and breathed and did that every day. If we just drop some costs, whatever that is, could we reconfigure this agency to move forward in a much better way? Everyone feeling better revenues. I think that's probably what a lot of agencies really need to be looking at.
I do think value-based selling as well, classic marketer here, suffers from a brand problem, right? Everybody's got it in their head that it's value-based pricing. I'm going to get to the scope stage. I'm going to scope it. I'm going to put my 3 options together that Blair has told me to do. Yeah. I'm going to see how I can put value into all of these, whereas that's way too late, right? And every agency owner has this value-based pricing thing in their head. Whereas if it was initially framed as value-based selling, like actually how do you create a relationship with that client? How do you focus on outcomes rather than the process to get there? If every member of your team has that value-based selling mindset, it's tied in from the first time you even meet the client. So by the time you get to the proposal stage, they've already got value in their mind. And that's kind of the key to unlock, I think, those value-based selling.
It's really hard to pivot when you've been in that. Get the revenue to cover the costs to then go, right, we're going to pivot now and do this. And I genuinely believe you can't do it unless you make some drastic changes to the business, which normally means reducing your overheads to go again, because you can't be, those things take time to come through. And if you've got those overheads, we said cash was a massive thing. You'll just burn through your cash. You'll literally burn through it. It's okay, so we've got 3-6 months of overheads, but we know how long pipeline take. You just burn through all your cash. So I think, if you're going to do it, you probably have to go a few steps back in order to go many steps forward, in my opinion.
I completely agree. It's value-based selling, not value-based pricing, because once you get to the pricing stage, particularly in this sort of environment at the moment, clients don't want to hear agile. They don't want an unknown scope. They want to know exactly what they're getting for the price. So this isn't the market at the moment to start doing it at the pricing stage. It's got to be further up front.
I do think it's the market, though, to pivot your team to a profit culture.
Yes,
I think that's a lot different, right? Like if you've got all of your team engaged in profitability, and they know they're bought into the performance at a business level, then that will unlock this kind of value-based selling in their mind as well.
When we see contractual disputes and you start to pick away at stuff, the client, even if the relationship has fallen down for whatever, the client does still appreciate that the agency needs to make a profit. And, they are cognizant of that. They're not always trying to drive down price, but it is about them understanding exactly what they're going to get. And at the moment, they don't want a wishy-washy agile. They want to know, can I deliver this? Will it work? Is it going to go live by the time we're going to launch?
That comment there, that the client understands the agency needs to make a profit. How many agency leaders have you come across, I've come across, that don't share we're making a profit with the team like it's a dirty word? So if you're going to build this culture of growth and profit, you've got to change your mindset. When we share our numbers every month with our team, this is where we are, this is how much money we're making. If it's great, brilliant. If it's not, that's the team that can help us grow it. Like, why am I carrying this all on me? I've got 20 amazing people out there. This is where we are, guys. What could we do? Agencies are the same, but lots of leaders, founders feel that they don't want to share that. Or it's shameful to make effort. And I think that's a whole barrier that needs breaking down if you're going to create this growth engine, this growth mindset in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting obsessed with profitability and obsessed with that gross profit figure across the whole of your team, that will unlock so much more end to end.
I think I'm an absolute believer in the commercial side and making everybody realise the small parts that they can play, that incremental difference. And I think it's getting that balance as well, because I've been in the environments where the profit overtakes the culture. So I think that's also the balance that needs to be struck, is to kind of help people to really understand.
That's where I think
there is a balance.
Your North Star and what your values are as a business. So, in our business, we say, be brave, be bold, be real. We know we want to get to a certain point by X. We know we want to hit these margins, but what are the rules we operate around to get there? And the whole team know what those rules are. So, if we genuinely speak to an agency and we don't think we're right for them, we'll say, we're not right for you, rather than go, well, we could do it because it'll get us nearer that profit figure. That's just foolish business running in my eyes, because all that will happen is that client won't be happy, we won't be happy, it'll churn. This industry is so incestuous. I'll be sat at one of these long lunches and also go, they're rubbish over there. So you're better to say, look, we're not for you. But that's a real change of mindset you have to have. And sharing that with your team and saying, that's okay, that's the right thing to do. When you've got costs and you need to hit those costs just to stay still, that's really hard to do.
Right, we've covered the here and now, right? So let's look ahead. So Jay, what is coming that is going to help agencies work smarter?
I was going to try to get through this whole thing without saying those two little letters.
Do you know what? I'm amazed. I was just sitting here thinking, wow, they
I'm going to try to do it. I was going to try to.
Loving it.
I'm going to still try to do it without saying those little letters.
Can you though?
Okay, so there's two little letters. Everyone knows what they are. I'm not going to say it. We work in an industry and in a world where things move faster than ever. Yeah, we can all agree to that. So when I started, I had a dial-in modem to get my emails. My kids don't believe in a world without Wi-Fi or iPhones. Okay. But we're still all here. These things have happened and we're still all here. We're still moving on. I got some stats earlier that the UK creative industry is 124 billion, 5% of GDP, employs 7% of the total UK workforce, and the sort of advertising marketing we're in is about 20% of that. So these are big numbers, right? These aren't going anywhere. And I think overall, the things I'm focusing on is these two little letters won't replace people. They'll replace tasks. They'll replace tasks that are boring. Just like the tractor replaced a plough that was pulled by a cow. It's just the next step on. But a tractor still needs a person. A cow needed a person to pull it. So I think tasks will get replaced, but people won't. And the more those tasks get replaced, people are just developing to a much higher skill set and deliver better outputs. And I was at a university yesterday for Digital Aspiration Day. And the next generation coming through, they've got the most exciting time ever, because all this new tech they've got to play with and bring all these creative ideas, I think is wonderful. So I'm really optimistic for the creative sector in the UK.
But embrace it.
Embrace it. And the roles that will exist, we don't know what they are yet. But as long as we're embracing that, getting on top of it and taking that innovation to the clients, that's what clients really want from agencies. What do you know that we don't know, and how can we get that competitive advantage? And I think it's such an exciting time. And I think more things like this will happen. Events where people are together and getting together will be something for 2026 for sure.
And Amy, what do you feel that agencies should be kind of preparing for in future?
I mean, I think we have to talk about it. You can cover your ears, Jay.
He's already said it.
He's already said it. I think we have to talk about AI, right? We have to talk about it. So for me, I suppose there are two things. Like, one is absolutely AI. We've moved from a place of we're worried about it, it's going to come take our jobs, to now how can we maximise it, where's the opportunity? And the best agencies are the ones that are actually identifying almost the boring things in their day-to-day. Like, how can I use AI to speed up the boring things and make me better at my job? How can it make me more effective? How can it supercharge our people?
Use your value, use your expertise,
100%.
spending the time.
So it's almost buying on them like a bit of time, a bit of focus, new opportunities. So I think that's really exciting, you know, and the agencies that are doing that really well now and giving their time and attention to AI in a strategic way will set themselves up really well for the future. I think the other opportunity actually lies in exit and exit planning. So I bring that up because I think it was last year's BenchPress, we saw a leap in the amount of agency owners who want to build an asset for their business, and that priority has jumped up basically to number one. So agency owners now seeing their business as an asset more and more, which is a huge opportunity, right? Not just for the agency, but for the sector, because it's not like they're all thinking, I want to build an asset to sell in 1, 2, 5, 10 years' time. They're thinking, you know, there are people that are thinking that, but generally the industry is thinking, how can I build more value into my business? How can I build a more valuable agency? And I think that mindset of thinking about exit, whether it's selling, whether it's EOT, whether it's MBO, whatever you want to do in terms of your exit and your move away as a founder or a director, that is inevitably going to build value in your business. And I think working on that and seeing your business as an asset, and the fact that more and more agency owners are doing that, will strengthen the industry overall as well.
What do you think has driven that change?
Frustration. There's a mix of agencies that want to invest in their culture. So they're looking at things like EOT. How can they empower their people to take more ownership of the agency? That classic wow line of working on the business rather than in it. Founders and directors wanted to remove themselves from the day-to-day. So there's this idea as well. And there's also a legacy thing, right? You know, what impact do you want to leave on the world? What do you want to leave behind for your family personally, your kind of reputation, your legacy? And this idea about future planning, I think, is starting to influence maybe the way people see their business, you know, seeing it as actually an asset that can charge those goals, charge what they want to achieve personally. You know, obviously there's going to be a financial element of this as well, but I think all these things are coming into play. If I build a more valuable business and a more valuable agency, then that will kind of pay dividends in every area of my life almost, you know, regardless of how and when you might want to exit.
And Rebecca, from what kind of opportunities are you seeing?
So for sure AI, and just picking up on what you're saying about agency owners starting to look at how they can create something unique that they may be able to sell on with a business or exit with. AI gives them that kind of opportunity. So the opportunity to actually monetize the IP with perhaps a methodology and then creating a product with the AI is definitely something that there's a huge amount of opportunity there, not just for agencies, but for other professional services businesses as well. And I think that's something we're going to see over the next few years. So that's really quite exciting. And then it's really, for me, from a legal perspective, making sure that they actually lock that down now, and that what they're planning to do, they're legally able to do, and they, you know, secure those rights and all those good things, which is all possible. For me, I mean, it's the obvious around efficiencies, which will help those margins of profits that we've talked about. Agencies are really, really well placed to be able to lean in on those relationships that we were talking about earlier, and be able to work with clients to be able to provide AI and their services in a more secure, safe way. And those, I think, you know, if they can lead on what that security data position is with AI to protecting their IP as well, is some extra value to clients that clients don't necessarily have at the moment in-house. So I think if they can really major on that, really train up teams to be focusing on that governance piece around AI, that's something that's really going to make them very, very valuable from an external perspective for clients to reach out to agencies as opposed to doing stuff in-house. And then I think it is considering about restructuring. So it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is outside of a job, but, you know, you do, to Jay's point, you do have to be pretty brutal and look at the model. And, you know, perhaps we're less pyramid and perhaps we're more column-like in structures potentially.
Yeah, I think the executionable type work will be the first one to really take a hit. But I think if you're delivering amazing strategy, brilliant creativity, helping clients integrate this new tech, and sometimes it's not always AI, right? People jump on this bandwagon, sometimes it's other tech.
But it's being realistic, isn't it? That, clients are looking to inbound more of the work, if they can, because they can utilise some of these tools. So it's about leaning into that relationship to work out where agencies can add value.
Yeah.
And deepen that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And building on your point about tech and AI as well, we are seeing buyers and investors probably over the past 12 plus months, I would say, that is a key lever of value. If you're tech enabled, if you're proactively investing in and strategic about AI, your agency will be more valuable as a result. So it's one of those key levers you can pull to attract buyers as well.
And the in-house thing, though, it is cyclical. I mean, we've been here long enough to see it goes in-house, it comes back out. It goes back in-house, it comes back in-house. And I think we're probably with the tech, boards having pressure on their own costs, saying, well, we could bring this in-house. As those things ease, then people realise, well, this in-house team now needs managing. We don't get as good of output that we used to get, and it goes back out again. So I think we're probably just about this perfect storm that you were talking about, Amy, where, we'll bring it in-house because it's cheaper, and then we can do it. Then someone will realise, but it all needs managing now, and we don't have all of that type of work all of the time, and it'll come back out again. So
I don't realise bringing it in-house actually eats into their margins even more,
Okay, so if you had one bit of advice for agencies over the next 6 months until we record our next podcast, what would that be, Rebecca?
Lean into AI, get everyone going on it, become experts, think broadly, but also get good governance around it.
Excellent. Thank you. Jay?
What Rebecca said, plus really nail down your leading indicators. Like, look at what's coming up. What do you need to be mindful of? What can you affect now? What can you change? Because when you're looking at the numbers when they've passed you by in the rearview mirror, it's too late. So just get on top of 2 or 3 leading indicators per department that will make a difference to your business. That's what I'd say look at.
Great, yeah, absolutely. And Amy?
For me, it's about mindset. No matter what comes your way, ask yourself the question, how can I make this the best thing that's ever happened to me, no matter what that might be, right? We asked our clients that during the recession. We try to ask ourselves that during COVID, and continually it forces you to think of these opportunities rather than putting kind of a negative spin on any situation that's before you.
So, of course, we're here at the Long Lunch, and it would just be really interesting to know what attracted you to get involved with the Long Lunch.
So I've been coming for a long time. I just love you just curate a wonderful feel here. Everyone's really open, happy, and it's just a lovely vibe.
Yeah, excellent. And Jay, the OG.
The OG. Is this 13 years now?
You keep no, it's 17.
17 years. I think, when somebody asked me what this is like, I said it's like a wedding without a bride and groom. And I think that is still the same. Everybody comes in with a real sense of, let's have a great day together. Let's shoot the breeze over challenges, over successes. Let's make new acquaintances. The timing of it's amazing as well, just before Christmas. So I think anyone that's a leader that can just take the self away from their business, and to your point, actually work on the business. This is working on the business. You're talking to your peers who are having similar challenges. It's a great thing to do.
Peer pressure. Peer pressure and massive FOMO. We spent a number of years now where, agencies say, you're going to the Long Lunch, you've been to the Long Lunch, you guys should be there, you'd be great there, like Jay being one of them. We do a lot of work with Agency Works and Synergist as well. And, we're always hearing about it. So obviously we were introduced, and it just seemed like a great opportunity, and I, as wow, like even when we run our events, BenchPress Live, the kind of breakfast events we do, all of this sort of thing, you just want to bring people together in a genuine way where they're actually helping each other. Nobody's trying to sell to each other. It's genuine conversation with genuine people, just creating great relationships. And yeah, it just felt like a really nice place for WOW to be, really. Mainly FOMO.
So, Amy, this is your first time with the WOW company sponsoring the Long Lunch. This is 15th year, 17th Long Lunch. So it's a long time, Jay. Is there a standout moment?
been a lot of margaritas, a lot of champagne. Now, I think there was a time, so I'd gone to, can you remember this? I'd gone to Barcelona and there was a ash cloud or a air traffic control strike, and I got stuck in Barcelona, and the long lunch was on the Thursday and I was still in Barcelona on the Wednesday, and I managed to get a flight Thursday morning and I had to buy an outfit at Barcelona airport, and the only thing I could really find was this like a white blazer, and I had a car waiting for me at Birmingham airport that whizzed me down to Cowley Manor, I think it was at the time, and I walked in thinking I looked quite good, and everyone just went, "The man from Del Monte, he said yeah."
Yes,
that was quite good.
Remember. And what about you, Rebecca? You've obviously been a few years.
Yeah, no, nothing as exciting as that. No, it's just, hey, look, it's a great vibe. As we were saying earlier, it's just, I think everyone's really open, and it's a great place to be, to chat and genuinely find out how people in the industry are feeling. And
I was just thinking, so you talked about your man from Del Monte, and we're kind of sitting like a pint of Guinness-ish, well, an upside-down pint of Guinness, but...
Well, I was told not to wear black.
Yeah. Yeah, well, then they would have...
Hi, Susie.
Yeah. Only because she...
I wonder why. So thank you all so much for taking the time to come here this morning ahead of lunch, getting up early and travelling over, or travelling late last night to be here early. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for those really valuable insights. It's just such a great thing to get. When we get these sponsors, I was just thinking, this is crazy that we're getting such valuable expertise coming to the event, supporting the event, and not actually sharing it and hearing it. So thank you so much. Brilliant. So that's what's working, what's challenging and what's coming. Hopefully plenty there to chew over without needing a lie down. If you've enjoyed this, do subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back in 6 months with the next check-in. And if you are an agency owner or director and fancy joining us for a long lunch, which are rather good if we do say so ourselves, head to longlunch.co.uk.